Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani, and today's video is going to be on sun exposure, healthy sun exposure, and toxic sunscreens, because this topic kind of goes hand in hand. So first off, we want to make sure people are getting their minimal erythemal dose, MED. That's science's fancy term of saying, hey, get your skin a little bit pink, right? So we have this spectrum of skin pigment. We have whiter or fairer skin on one side, all the way to dark skin on the other side here, right? And you're gonna have this person over here start out with 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes of sun just to start getting their skin a little pink. And then each day moving forward, add about 5 minutes of sun exposure. What'll happen is the skin will produce melanin, which is basically a tan, and that's your body's way of responding, of saying, hey, we're getting more sun in our environment, let's build up and let's put in some natural sunblock to prevent skin damage. So we want to build up just a little bit each day. And if you're darker skin, you may be able to come out with a couple of hours off the bat. Again, don't be fooled just because you may be an African American. You could still burn if you haven't had much sun exposure. So start out with a couple hours and work your way up if you have darker skin. And if you have lighter skin, start out with even just as much as 10 minutes and then build your way up. Again, with sun exposure, we want to build that healthy tan, but we also want to produce vitamin D. And vitamin D works by sunlight, UVB radiation hitting the skin. That skin then has these pre-cholesterol molecules that then get converted to D3. D3 then goes through our liver and then our kidneys, and we have active calcidiol converting to active calcitriol, which is our active vitamin D. So vitamin D works by modulating our immune system. It activates about 800 to 1,000 different genes in the body. So really important for immune health, especially with autoimmune conditions being on the rise. We want to make sure we have good vitamin D levels, and also it helps with cancer and heart disease too. So off the bat here, get your healthy vitamin D exposure. Typically between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. is where we really want to maximize that exposure. That's where the angle of the sun's going to be the most potent. So even people that are out all day, typically, unless they're really exposing themselves, like sunbathing, if you will, they're not going to be maximizing their vitamin D. So still get your vitamin D levels checked. Make sure you're in that 50 to 70 range ideally, or 70 to 90 if you're in that autoimmune cancer risk area too. So again, minimal erythemal dose, get a little pink. Find out where you are on that pigment scale to figure out what your dose should be, whether you should start out at 10 or 15 minutes or work your way up to a couple of hours. And again, lots of toxins are in our sunscreen. So I recommend getting a little pink at first. Once you get pink, throw a flannel on or put a hat over your head, put some sunglasses on. Again, in all times that may not be appropriate because it's hot out. So we got to have some type of sunscreen option. Just got to be mindful there are a lot of toxins in sunscreens. So we have a couple here: oxybenzone, octinoxate or octyl methoxycinnamate, and then we also have homosalate. These are various chemicals that are found in most sunscreens. Most of your commercial sunscreens, go to Walgreens or Target and just pull a couple off the shelf. I guarantee you'll find these right here. I know this one's in about 90% of them. It's got two names: octinoxate or octyl methoxycinnamate. And again, a lot of these chemicals right here, they're cancer causing, they're estrogen mimicking, and they are potentially carcinogenic. They are found in the urine of people doing urinary tests, or even in mother's milk afterwards. So they get absorbed by our body and they can create some free radical stress, and they're considered to be carcinogenic. The Environmental Working Group, or skindeep.org, you can go on there and they have all the different references of all the studies where they've actually done research on these various compounds. So I'm very hesitant of rubbing anything on my face that could be a potential carcinogen or has studies showing that it has the ability to reproduce or estrogen mimic or actually lower sperm count and affect reproduction. So I'm very, very concerned rubbing anything that's toxic on my body. So I would definitely avoid doing this. Again, when we rub xenoestrogens or foreign estrogens, it can disrupt our hormones. So with females, it can create what's known as estrogen dominance and throw off their estrogen to progesterone ratio. With men, it can affect GnRH. So GnRH is gonadotropic releasing hormone. So GnRH basically affects our brain like so. So if we have our xenoestrogen up here, I'll just put xenoestrogen. That xenoestrogen talks to our brain. And the high amount of xenoestrogen, what it will do is it will actually decrease GnRH. So when we have decreased GnRH, what happens is this. As a result, what comes out from the brain is decreased luteinizing hormone. And we need luteinizing hormone to talk to our testicles to then produce testosterone. So LH with decreased LH, here's our testicles right here, or our gonads. Decreased LH, what happens is, as a result, we now have decreased testosterone. That's the result. So it's really important, men out there, especially if you have man boobs or gynecomastia issues or weight loss issues, we definitely don't want to be rubbing anything that could have a xenoestrogenic potentiation and also affecting our brain and GnRH levels. So really important from a hormonal perspective. So let's dive in here to some of our safer sunscreen options. So first off, we have zinc dioxide and titanium dioxide. These are our old sunscreens, or at least the zinc dioxide from the 70s and 80s when you could see the lifeguards with the big white noses. That's just zinc dioxide. Now what they've done today is they've created zinc dioxide nanoparticles, so it's much smaller, so you don't see all the whiteness on your face. You don't look like Casper the Ghost. So we have these compounds now in nanoparticle size. And typically when you rub any of these compounds on your skin, so you can see the S right here is our skin, and that's the first layer is the stratum corneum, which is typically dead skin cells. So if we're rubbing, right, this is our green layer here, so the Z and the T represent the zinc dioxide and the titanium dioxide. It's just hitting that first layer of skin and preventing a lot of the free radicals, because these Z's and T's absorb a lot of the free radicals from that UV radiation from the sun, and the whole goal is it doesn't get absorbed into the skin. It actually would get washed off later. That's kind of the goal. So it's not being absorbed by the skin, but will get washed off later. So that prevents a lot of these free radicals here from getting absorbed in. That's the goal. And there's some studies saying, well, maybe the nanoparticles could be absorbed, but there are other studies also showing that they are still too big to be fully absorbed. A couple studies, one did 2 to 3 applications a day for 3 to 4 days, and they found that there was no zinc or titanium in the urine or in the blood. So very good to know. So this would be your better option for natural sunscreen. If we had to be outside, if we couldn't quite put a flannel or a hat on, this would be a safer option. Now, I recommend checking out Environmental Working Group or skindeep.com here and checking out the best sunscreens. My favorite, I like one called Badger. There's also another one called Burnout. I like All Terrain. All Terrain makes a really good one called Terra Sport. Those are my 3 favorite. I also like, there's one, a little bit of a higher line, more of a cosmetic line called Marie Veronique that I like as well. What they do in that line is because the titanium or the zinc dioxide leaves a little bit of white. It's still not perfect these days, but they use a little bit of natural dyes in there to give it a little bit of a tan. So when you rub it on your skin, it'll actually give you a slight bit of a tan and not leave any white residue. So I'm a fan of using that as a sunscreen, just for my face at least, just so I don't have any whiteness there. So again, Badger's a good one, Burnout, Terra Sport, and I like Marie Veronique. But again, check out these sites, look at your favorite brands, see what chemicals are in those brands. The Environmental Working Group will rate them 1 being better and 10 being the worst, so you can see where it fits on that scale of toxicity, and they'll even give you the studies to back it up, so you can see the oxybenzone or the octinoxate or the octyl methoxycinnamate, where it ranks on that list, and you can try to find the ones that work for you, or you can see if the ones you're using are toxic now too. So we also have internal support. So consuming antioxidants are also going to be really, really important. So a lot of what happens with sun and these free radicals is they create reactive oxygen species, ROS for short. And what these reactive oxygen species do is they come away here and they damage electrons. So if here's our electron here, this reactive oxygen species is going to damage our electron. And what antioxidants are doing, antioxidants actually come in here just like so. So if here's our molecule with our electron, right? So what oxidation is a loss of an electron. So if we have a reactive oxygen species, it's basically taking an electron. So let's say this molecule right here, let's say it feels happy at 2. So we have 2 electrons right here. All right, and let's say this reactive oxygen species comes over here and chips away 1 electron. Well, this molecule now is damaged. It's not happy. So what we have is we have antioxidants, right? And if you think antioxidants, so it's anti-electron loss, it's actually coming over here and it's actually stabilizing that extra electron and preventing it from breaking away. So that's what it's doing. It's preventing the damage that's occurring from these reactive oxygen species. So getting antioxidants in your body can be helpful. So again, your green vegetables, ideally organic, anything that has color or pigment to it. So your blueberries, your raspberries, your kale, your spinach, these are all going to be super, super helpful. I'm a big fan of putting grapeseed extract. I take about 200 to 300 milligrams of grapeseed extract, or OPCs, oligoproanthocyanidins. Say that 10 times fast. But your OPCs are these really awesome antioxidant compounds that actually provide about an SPF of 7 or 8 internally. I'm a big fan of taking those antioxidants so they get into my skin and they prevent any reactive oxygen species from happening. Also, resveratrol too, another powerful antioxidant that you can take supplementally. I do about 200 to 300 milligrams of the grapeseed extract anytime I'm going to be on my boat or outside for a long period of time, just to protect my skin. So again, lots of stuff you can do. So I recommend find some couple of good antioxidants. You can even use green tea. You can even use turmeric. I like grapeseed extract or OPCs or resveratrol. Take a stack of those if you will, maybe 1 or 2 of those. Find out what you like so you have some internal protection. Do your best to pick one of these out. A good sunscreen that I mentioned that will provide some deflection of the sun and prevent those reactive oxygen species from penetrating deep. And then also avoid some of these toxin compounds that we already know are potential endocrine disruptors and can actually get into your body and your bloodstream. And again, get your minimal erythemal dose. So went over a lot of information here. Any questions or you want to reach out or work with me, click on screen or click below to get more of my information, and subscribe and share if you're enjoying these videos. Thanks, this is Dr. J signing off. Have a great day.